my start in the business is rather interesting. My background had been in financial PR for a publicly held company. And Dean Jernigan happened to be a neighbor. He was taking Storage USA public at the time, early mid-90s. And he needed someone who had some experience with the Wall Street analysts. So he asked me to join Storage USA. At that time, Storage USA was less than 200 facilities, and we all wore lots of hats. I had the pleasure of working with Carol Shipley directly. My first roles were running human resources and investor relations, risk management. We did everything just to kind of keep the small company entrepreneurship, but to help grow the company. That's how I got started. I did that about 2 years when Dean called Carol Shipley and I aside at Chris Marr's wedding.
And for those that may not know who Chris Marr is.
So Chris Marr is the CEO of CubeSmart. And at that time, Chris was with us at Storage USA. So Chris's wedding, New Year's Eve, 1996 going into 7, I think, somewhere around there. Maybe it was 98, I don't remember, a long time ago. Asked Carol and I if we would take this department and this idea that he was thinking of and franchising and managing for other operators and developers. So it sounded fun and great, and I had the chance to work side by side with Carol, who has been a friend and mentor to me in 23 years I've been doing this. So we started this franchise program, and Storage USA had capital to invest equity in these deals and really was able to grow rapidly. I dealt with owners all over the country who wanted to build a storage facility. We helped them every step of the way. Site selection, entitlements, design, layout, construction, and then operations, opening. So during that period, I really got to learn all aspects of the business and meet some wonderful, wonderful people along the way. So I decided to make a change, and I went out and started running my own family assets, which were at the time 2 storage facilities, and focus a little bit on raising my boys. Fast forward, 5-10 years, and Dean calls me. He's now at CubeSmart, which in that day it was You Store It. Would I come back and join him and Carol in the organization? So I didn't even have to think twice. So
You're ready.
I was ready, and it was the right time in my life. So I did that for a number of years, and then Dean retired and Carol retired. So I decided I was going to sort of retire, but that didn't last very long because a few years later, Bill Hoban and I ran into each other. And Bill had been one of my first customers at Storage USA. We managed for Bill back in the day. So Bill was growing StoreQuest and the William Warren Group rather rapidly. And again, the timing worked for me. And asked me if I would come and take over the third-party management business. So I did. And I was there 5 years, having a ball, learning, growing, working with tremendous owners and a tremendous group of people at StoreQuest that he had assembled over the years, and had a wonderful time. But now I'm at the point where it's time to slow down a little bit. So I made the very difficult decision to focus solely on my family assets, which are now 3 self-storage facilities, and to do some consulting work with the people that I've gotten to know in the industry throughout the years, and just kind of enjoy life a little bit more than I had been in the previous 20 plus years of working and raising 3 boys on my own. So.
What do you think are some of the differences between back in the Storage USA days? You didn't have social media, you didn't have website presence, so if at all, but anywhere near what it is today. So if you were growing a platform and building, a solid engine for growth and working with operators, What did you do to grow the pipeline and establish yourself in that space?
Growing the management business one by one is difficult. And I think that it helps when you've been in the business a while, as have I and Bill and his partners. So we know a lot of people, and you're able to show them and prove to them what you can do. So some of it's word of mouth. Certainly the internet has played a huge role, not only on the store level, but in the management business. We can do everything digitally now, and in the old days, you handed out a brochure, or you put an ad in the yellow page. Those days are obviously long gone, but I think the reputation part of it is tremendous in this business and with the internet and social media. And all the companies have been able to do a great job with that. You attract a customer, and I'm not just talking about third-party management customers, but the customer at the store level. You attract them through channels such as social media and internet advertising. But once you capture them, you prove to them that you are going to deliver everything you said and then some.
So this business is a relationship business, would you say?
I would say hugely on the business side of it. I'm not talking about the store level, but absolutely it's a relationship business. And as a consultant now, I get calls from my friends who have referred someone to me, my friends in the business, and their word when a Guy Middlebrooks or Jackie Hogan refers someone to you, that's a great endorsement. And my relationship with them has enabled me to be in a position to kind of be on the receiving end of some of their contacts that they have as well.
So what are the things that people really need to think about if they're going to be in it for the long haul?
I think there's lots of different ways to look at that. It depends on where you're coming from, if you will. Some of the obvious ones, make sure you're building in the right location. So many people always say they're going to build, and then if they are, hopefully getting some professional input, they realize that it's, not the great site they thought it was, or it's not the easy process that they thought. I think there are still people of the mindset that you can throw up some metal doors and you're kind of done. It's really not like that, so be very careful. Run a self-storage facility. It's a sophisticated business, and it's not as simple as one thinks it is sometimes. I think that working with a professional and a management company, they don't have to be huge, but someone that knows the business, the insides and outs, and has all the tools, I think that's very, very helpful. Although, many independent operators are quite successful, and you can do that, but I would encourage those to still put some checks and balances in place, because while some people think it's great that, let's just say they're making $10,000 a month, in their pocket, maybe with more sophisticated operational management and systems, you might be making $14,000 a month to take home. Just don't be satisfied with the status quo, I guess, is what I would suggest.
And over the course of your career, what were some of the things that you noticed that came up as far as questions that you would have for her, or, I don't know, just someone being a stand for you to look out for you, like,
a couple things that come to mind. We can learn the business, right? We can read a P&L, or we can look at the operations reports. We can figure that out. What's harder, in my opinion, to learn are kind of some of the people issues. What's the best way to deal with a difficult employee? Or what's the best way to deal with the CEO of a company? Or what's the best approach to negotiating an agreement, a contract? And that helps you. I think you have to be open to feedback, both the positive and the not so easy to hear, not take it personally. It's easy to do, harder to say, but I think it's important, and that's how you can also grow. Just have passion about what you do. It makes such a difference. I've never once gotten out of bed in the morning and said, I don't want to do this today. I have loved every minute of it.
Well, it's apparent in just the conversation we're having.